because it carries a big weight, not only in your market positioning, but also among the team, because the team takes it as a matter of pride. That's why they wear the shiny Forbes 5-star rosettes on their lapels alongside their hotel rosette, because it's a sense of pride.
Absolutely.
Like, this is what we achieved.
Well, welcome everyone. I've got a very special guest joining me now here at the Forbes Travel Summit, live from Las Vegas. I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing my very first Secretary General on the show. He's got a remarkable legacy in this industry, and Stuart, who's a good friend of mine, who works at Forbes, said, you've got to interview Burak. He's got an incredible story to tell. So Burak Ipekci, he is the Secretary General of Leclerc d'Or.
Exactly. Bang on.
Man,
Bang
oh man.
on.
There's a few things that can trip me up here, which translate to Golden Keys.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, Burak, tell us a little bit about the organization first. Just give everyone a bit of an understanding of what Leclerc d'Or is.
In simple terms, it's a non-for-profit organization. It is an occupation-based non-for-profit organization. It's the global recognized entity that governs the concierge community. And when I say concierge, of course, in this day and age, you know that there are concierges in medical facilities, at supermarkets and shopping malls and so on and so on. No, we are specifically solely for hotels. The organization has been around a very long time. It started its life in 1929 as a French entity. By 1952, with a gentleman called Ferdinand Gillet, took a little leap where he actually traveled around mainland Europe and organized other concierges in different cities and create a European organization. That's our sort of, as an international entity, that's our genesis, 1952. And since then, we're currently in 44, grouped under 44 countries, but it's actually 80 plus countries represented under 44 sections, and about 32 of us globally.
Wow, that's incredible. How long have you been with Leclerc d'Or?
I personally have been a member if you take half a step back, it takes a while to become a Leclerc d'Or member. There's a rigorous process of going through recommendation process, interview process, testing process, so on. So application to membership takes roughly about 3 to 6 months, depending on the section that you're in. So I became a concierge in '99, and it didn't even take me a few months. And like, okay, if I'm going to remain in this business, this is my path. Because it's like a sommelier having that Bacchus pin on their lapel. I wanted to have that shiny golden keys on my lapel, because I was looking at my colleagues. I'm like, oh my God, we're standing in the same desk. They're immediately on my left. The guest is drawn blank to me. They're automatically like fly paper going to these people. They must know something that I don't. That was the first impression. So I became a member in 2002. So that was about, 22 years ago.
And fascinating. Well, you're sitting across from me in this incredible event, and you're flashing the golden keys.
The bling bling, yes.
Yes,
very important.
Very nice. And it was an organization that I was not familiar with, and this is clearly my first time being at the Forbes Summit. And I was intrigued to meet you. We chatted earlier, and as soon as you made that connection, the golden keys, I felt like it had opened up a whole new world of hospitality that I'm not familiar with, but clearly it's a large global organization. It has many members. What brings you guys to the summit? Are you guys an official partner with Forbes? How are you guys connected?
It is interesting because there are multiple ways of looking at this. Forbes, obviously, as a rating agency, rates our properties. So our employers, per se, whether you look at it on a property level or a corporation level, are in direct collaboration and sort of a partnership with Forbes. We have always loosely did work with Forbes. We always supported them because, again, it made organic sense. It was around the time 2 CEOs ago, Jerry Inzerillo, who is a really well-known character among the hospitality industry, really well-known GM, operator, a very personable character. Jerry always referred to us as ninjas. He's like, guys, you need to come a little closer. We need to talk more. I think it makes sense for your employers. It makes sense for us. Let's chat. His successor was Philip Boyan, who actually is among us at the summit. others followed the same rhetoric, saying like, oh, we need to do more. We kept on doing more. But not until now with Herman's presence, and Herman being a former GM himself and coming from the floor, we started to take this in a little more sort of a serious perspective, I suppose. We're doing ever more with Forbes, whether it's education, whether it's collaboration, even for the summit itself. If you were to look at the Summit's app, one part is what to do in Las Vegas if you have free time. We actually facilitate that whole component and assisted them sort of rolling up our sleeves, taking a part in the organizational structure. So whatever we can do, because whichever way you look at it, it makes perfect sense.
And how many summits have you been to now?
This is my second.
Oh, it's only
This
your
is my
second.
Indeed. The way it actually happened is we got involved and went neck deep almost immediately because Amanda Fraser and Gina, who oversee all the ratings and inspections and so on and so forth, they kind of invited us to be a part of SAC, the Standard Advisory Committee. This is the body within Forbes ratings who tweaks the rating criteria year on and year out. So they said, listen, you're the ones who are on the floor. You're the ones who are guest-facing. You need to have a voice in this. I'm like, incredible. So, one, come to the summit and be present and support us and sort of let us support you. But also come and get involved a little more. So this is year 2 of us taking part in Summit, but in a more organic way, more neck-deep way.
Yeah. Well, and you've just come out of the very first session this morning, and I know you seem buzzing with energy because it was a great presentation from Mia, who's also going to be interviewed here. Tell us a little bit about the insights that you've gained so far. I mean, I guess it's early in the event. What I guess brought you here, and what are some of the insights that you've initially realized from being at the event?
I mean, the past 12 months, the buzzword is ChatGPT AI.
Right.
That's the theme or the sort of a overwhelming theme here in the summit as well. Everybody's talking about it. We're talking about it on a non-for-profit perspective. Our employers are talking about it on a hospitality or corporate level.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about it. So that's a big topic over here. Other than that, inclusivity, diversity, recruitment, these are recurring topics, especially since the pandemic. So both in individual conversations, but also in discovery sessions, I think we're going to hear more and more about it, everybody expressing their perspective or their take on it, and offering solutions to the best of their capacity to their comrades.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we just hosted our own AI summit, and you're right. Everyone wants to understand how this is going to impact their careers, their companies, and their lives. So what are your initial assessments? I mean, you're obviously keen to learn more about that. Are you guys actually leveraging AI currently as an organization, or are you trying to figure out your AI strategy?
I mean, I come from a generation where internet didn't exist when I became a concierge.
Right.
I was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time and having the right interest. I set up the website for Claydor back in the day for US and digitized some of the processes. And I still, and in my capacity as a GenSec, I still oversee our digital presence. So we're definitely looking at it because as it was back in late 90s where people were freaking out about internet, oh, we're going to lose our jobs and so on. People are doing the same thing.
One of the things that is important to luxury hotels and also part of the Forbes 5-star rating is service. And that's what people deliver. So it's one thing to have the amenities, but really to get a 5-star, you have to deliver exceptional service, which is not what AI is currently excelling at. So one of the things that Jonathan highlighted was if we could get it to do the laundry, if we get it to make the beds, if we could get it to do some of the back of house, that would be ideal, just with the challenges of recruitment and training and so forth. But in terms of service, I'm very keen to know between your organization and organization of Forbes, you mentioned there's a connection there with Forbes having a rating system and you overseeing a number of hotels. How important is the Forbes 5-star rating to your properties?
I don't think that actually even requires a discussion. I think the answer to your question is as clear as daylight.
Yeah.
I look at my employers, I look at fellow department heads, I look at directors. First and foremost, if you strip everything back, everybody's judged by the same criteria.
Right.
So there's that democratic approach, there's that unfiltered, no sort of favoritism, sort of a direct approach to it. And that transparency, the integrity that brings is extraordinary to begin with. But those who are listening to the podcast, who are involved in the hospitality business, or get to see a Forbes report, inspection report, will understand where I'm coming from. You can actually just go item by item. This employee blew it out of the park. This employee dropped the ball. But then in the report, you also see that this person sort of dropped the ball, but this was going on in the background. So it is an incredible insight for any operator, doesn't matter which level in, to fine-tune their operation. And again, I'm going to go back to the original term I use, which is what I tell all the time. That transparency, that integrity, that clean, unfiltered, unbiased approach to a rating, it is incredibly refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's great to get your perspective on that. One of the colleagues asked me what the impact it has if a hotel moves from a 5-star to a 4-star. Have you seen that in your journey? And what the actual impact is when a hotel gets downgraded?
I think the biggest impact is the property first freaking out.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what's going on? And then two, what do I need to do to get back my 5th star?
Right.
So it puts them in a position where they have to raise their game.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. Of course, there's the financial repercussions of that, because the expectation is not as high anymore. You find yourself, do I drop my rates, not, and so on and so forth. So there's the logistical side of that story. But the first knee-jerk reaction is, oh my God, what happened? And what do we need to do to rectify this and go back to 5-star again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it carries a big weight, not only in your market positioning, but also among the team, because the team takes it as a matter of pride. That's why they wear the shiny Forbes 5-star rosettes on their lapels alongside their hotel rosette. Because it's a sense of pride.
Absolutely.
Like, this is what we achieved.
Yeah.
We're the man.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that sort of I don't know.
Yeah, well, Malcolm, just to mention one more time, but he highlighted how much effort it took for them to initially get their 4-star rating and then move up to a 5-star, and what a commitment it is to maintain that level of excellence. And for him, this is his one annual trip that he gets to make each year, and it's really a celebration of being here. I assume that's some of the sentiment with your partners that are being here.
100%.
Now tell me a bit, you've got a global view, say you're based in London, you've got properties around the world, you've got a great global network. I'm very keen to understand, as we sit here in 2024, thankfully now 2 years on the other side of the pandemic.
And still alive.
Yeah, exactly. And we're all of a sudden here in person, no one's wearing masks. You know, this is like a glorious era that we've returned to, that we weren't sure how long it was going to take. Obviously, there was some dark moments during the pandemic.
Indeed.
For all of us in this industry. But now the industry has come back and it's surging. What are some of the insights you have looking into 2024 in terms of consumer behavior, booking activity? What are you seeing across all of your properties?
The key word for us is personalization.
Right.
Everybody wants a unique experience. Everybody wants their experience to be personalized to them. We always have had pre-arrival communication with our guests, whether it's an email or a phone call, whatever it is, or it will be a repeat guest, they would reach out to us directly, whatever it may be. Now we're in an era, they just want to kick it up a notch. Everybody wants something unique, something personal. They don't want to just go to somewhere. They want to go somewhere and greeted by someone and have a full-blown experience out of it. They don't want to just go to a restaurant, sit down and eat. They want the maitre d' to greet them at the door, knowing their face and their name, and escort them to their table.
Yeah.
Everybody wants just one extra, because I think this is the post-pandemic era, the post-pandemic behavioral pattern. They realize the fact that life is short. You might be here today, you're going to be gone tomorrow. So if you have disposable income, dispose of it, but dispose of it properly.
Take a trip, take a holiday, stay in an amazing
don't
hotel.
delay it for another year, because you don't know what's going to happen next year.
Yeah.
Don't delay it for this spring, because you don't know what's going to happen this spring. You want it, you can do it, financially you can afford it, knock yourself out. Just go and do it properly.
So do you think the booking activity that we're seeing, I mean, there was a huge surge, there was that concept of revenge travel, which I don't like that term, but nevertheless, people did come back, and they are splurging on their travels as well.
Yes.
Do you think that will continue in 24, or do you think you'll start to see people pulling back in the U.S. market or global, based on the global economy? What is your view as we go through 2024?
I can only speak for myself. My personal point of view is that it will continue, maybe soften up a little bit, but it will continue. Having said that, I also believe the destination will change. I think going from, as everybody's seeking a unique experience, I think it's going to divert from the usual suspects, as in the Londons and the New Yorks and so on, so the major markets. I think it's going to go for more experiential destinations, more lifestyle destinations, whether it's the Balis or whatever it is, or just go and do something unique. Because now everybody's at a stage like, we want to go to New York, I'll hop on a plane, I'll be there in 7 hours, who cares?
Yeah.
But to do something unique, you actually need to think about something unique that nobody around you have done.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming you're a fan of the show White Lotus?
Yes.
Somewhat?
Yeah, no. Listen, the venues are incredible.
Well, the reason I ask it specifically, of course, they were tied into the Four Seasons. They did the first series in Hawaii.
Correct.
The second season in Sicily, which has become a phenomenon of forward bookings. No. And the next season is apparently it's going to be set in Thailand. Yeah. And Four Seasons has multiple properties there. So to your point, once Four Seasons starts to profile properties in Thailand, which is a more exotic destination, so would that highlight, or would that kind of reconfirm your views about the trend of people then seeking out those staying in luxury properties in more far-flung destinations?
I would think so. I think the way they're approaching it with a media angle is in a way parallel to how I see things. Because, as I said, you want to go to New York, you're based in London, you hop on a plane, 7 hours later, you're in New York. You can stay any hotel you want, but it's tried and tested. Everybody's been there, done that.
Yeah.
So you want to do something unique. You want to go somewhere that people haven't been, or that you're not going to go for another 5-10 years, or maybe ever.
Now, one question I just want to go back to, when you mentioned about personalization, I know how important that is to the luxury guest experience, and I can speak at least from personal experience staying at Red Carnation Hotels, and the way that they approach it, having known the team and their operational processes, is that they have a meeting in the morning amongst all the crew, and they look at who's going to be checking in that day, and they review past guests and ensure that the room is tailored to their tastes, and they're prepared to greet them as well. Mm-hmm. And so if you think about your comment about AI and technology and personalization, one of the promises with AI is a certain level of personalization. That seems to be a recurring theme. What are some of the ways you think that hoteliers can benefit from personalization beyond just having a stored memory of the guest, or having a CRM system where they put in details to remember that they have kids, or that they like a particular sport, and some of those things that really do make a meaningful difference, especially to a luxury guest? What are some of the ways, either by technology or implementing new processes, are you seeing hotels actually deliver on personalization?
Well, the thing is, a system like that is your best friend when it comes to personalization, because it has the ability to source multiple data from multiple sources and collate into one and present it to you as a ready-to-go, ready-to-consume paragraph. So even if it's that person stayed in your sister property before but not with you, or a complete brand new individual, through social media accounts, through trolling through internet, that entity can actually draw all that data, summarize it, and hand it to you. That's a lot of saved man hour. As a result, do you see the daily repercussion of that within the team? Of course you do, because in the past you used to go to a hotel, there'd be 10 receptionists checking people in. Now there's only 5. Why? Because people can check themselves in on the app, and the system's running in the background, knows what your preferences are, and assigns a room for you, and you got your digital key on your phone as well, so you don't necessarily have to stop by at the reception desk.
Yeah.
But then again, that's where we ended up being far more prominent, because you still need somebody like me in the lobby to tweak issues, solve problems, assist the guests, hold their hand, because hospitality at the end of the day it's a people business.
Absolutely.
So on one hand, you're optimizing things and speeding things up and facilitating a much better way, much more efficient way of doing things. But on the other hand, you still need a familiar face that you can come and give a hug, and who will ask you how your wife is and how your children are at the end of the day.
Very interesting. Well, I got 2 more questions for you.
Hit me.
Given your seniority and experience in this industry, and clearly the respect level that you generate from your colleagues,
thank you.
I would love to know what you would suggest to younger listeners who are trying to get into this industry. And I've talked to my colleagues about this at length, that people love travel, but people don't necessarily understand the hospitality industry, and many people have made it a career. So for those people who are up and coming or aspiring, that are listening to this to figure out how to better themselves, to advance their career, what would one of your recommendations be to them?
The first term, the first buzzword I want to give is empathy. We're an empathy business. You need to be able to build rapport with people, understand people organically.
Yeah.
So if anybody's interested in getting into this business, please look at yourselves in the mirror and ask yourself, am I that person? Am I going to be okay solving problems and taking care of things all my life? Am I built for it? Because this is not a job. Working in hospitality business is not a job. Yes, of course it's a job. It gives you a salary and you go to a workplace daily, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is, it's a lifestyle.
Right.
Either you have it within you or you don't. I studied hospitality management as well. My first day at uni, my first ever professor walked in, introduced himself to a room full of 18, 19-year-old semi-delinquent teenagers, and said, rule number 1, cover yourselves. Because the guest has the ultimate power. You drop the ball, they'll put their money in their pocket and move on to the next hotel.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Their loyalty ends where their comfort ends.
Yeah.
And rule number 2 is that if you ever come to a position where you're putting together a team, organizing an operation, setting something up, always, always, always hire people based on personality. Because teaching a trick to a monkey is an easy thing. Learning a computer system, learning a language, how to write a report. These are skills that you can learn. But that genuine eagerness to serve, care for people, show that love, either you're born with it or you're not. That's why, going back to my first thing, look at yourself in the mirror. Are you cut out for it or not? Because this is not a job.
Yeah, I'm so glad I asked you that question. I was not expecting that answer at all. But I love it for 2 reasons. Obviously, one is that when it comes to AI and computers, one thing that, and I've studied and put a lot of time and energy into this, but with AI and how it's going to impact the travel industry, but one area that AI lacks is empathy.
Yeah.
Because that's a unique human quality.
Indeed.
And then the other, when I checked in yesterday, there was a gentleman named Michael that checked me in, and I was mentioning that I was going to be interviewing some of the team here at Resort World, and Shannon being one of them, who I spoke to earlier today. And he was saying that Shannon always makes him feel special and important when she speaks to him, that when she asks about his day, she stops and really listens.
Okay. A little background information that will make far more sense to you. Did you know that Shannon used to be a Clefs member concierge?
No, I didn't.
Yes.
Oh, very cool. I didn't even get a chance to ask her about that.
She is not only an incredible hotelier, not only an incredible female leader who's always visible and does her part galore. She actually was a former Clefs member concierge.
Interesting. So yeah, she's been mentored. She learned her way.
Once a concierge, always a concierge. That never leaves you. That energy never leaves you.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, if people are interested to learn more about Le Clé d'Or or follow up with you directly for partnerships or other opportunities, what would you like to leave them with today?
Go to our website. It will give you a nice little oversight of what we are, who we are, how long we've been around, what our ethos is, what we're trying to achieve. It will give you a basic understanding. And at the bottom of the page, you'll see my email address, generalsecretary@lecledor.org. Just go, drop me a line. Hey, how you doing? And I'll respond.
Cool. You have to explain before we go, since we started the conversation with your title, what is the role of a general secretary?
I'm a bottleneck. I'm trying to find a palatable way of putting it. I'm the bottleneck. Whatever happens outside the organization that requires access to Clefs d'Or, in a way goes through me. And whatever happens within the organization that requires outside access, again, goes through me. I organize all our meetings, all our gatherings, put together agendas, our global communications both to our members and to the outside world. Pretty much anything you can think of that relates to protecting the integrity of an organization, I'm that guy.
All right. That's fantastic. Well, it's been a real honor to interview my first Secretary General. I totally know now why Stuart wanted to connect us, and I'm so glad that he did. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you at this event and afterwards, and wish you every success going forward, Burak.
Thank you. Another side information. I don't know if you ever mentioned, Stuart, 25 years ago when I used to work at Hilton, New York, used to live out of my hotel during his consultancy days. That's how long we've known each other.
Wow, that's remarkable. As you say, this relationship, this industry is all about relationships.
Indeed, 100%. 100%. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Burak. Pleasure to meet you.